Hello and welcome to another episode of Uncaged, the official podcast of BA Tiger Sports. I'm your host, Greg Spencer, alongside Associate Director of Athletics, Amanda Snyder. How you doing today, Amanda?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing awesome. We've got two great guests today. We've got the Director of Strength and Conditioning, Cody Ellett, and Sports Information Specialist / Guru, Wesley Richardson. How are you guys doing today?
I'm great, Greg. Thanks for having us.
Doing good, man. Good to be here.
All right, so we wanted to have you guys on today to tell everybody, people kind of know who you guys are and what you do for the district, but really give them, an inside look and get to know you guys better. So we're going to start out with Cody a little bit, and we'll have some questions for you. Cody, you are a BA lifer, right?
Yes, sir.
So son of former athletic director Ken Ellett. Were you born in Broken Arrow?
I was not. I was born in Wisconsin, but I've been in Broken Arrow, aside from college and a few trips out for work. I've been here since I was 2.
Since you were 2, so you're a lifer as far as what all schools did you go to?
I went to Park Lane growing up, and then Vandiver towards the back end of my elementary career. Sequoia Middle School. At that time, there was 2 intermediates, South Intermediate, and then graduated from the high school in 2006.
2006. Where'd you go to college?
University of Central Oklahoma.
And what led you to get into the profession of strength and conditioning? It's obviously a growing profession and more schools, both at the high school level, district level. Obviously, colleges have had them for a long time. What led you there?
I think just being a lifelong athlete and kind of a coach's son. My dad was an old coach. He was, as long as I can remember, he's been an administrator, but it was still kind of the coach mentality. It was still walking around practices as a little kid, walking around football practice and wrestling practice and baseball, especially as the AD. He had to be a part of everything. So just tagging along with him through athletics my whole life, and then getting to play college football, you grow up around it, you get used to it, you get good at it, and you learn a lot, and you obviously admire your coaches. So
you kind of got going at University of Tulsa too, right?
I did, yeah. I was a graduate assistant at University of Tulsa for 2.5 years, which was an amazing experience. And that after graduating there, perfect timing, the job opened up here and everything fell into place.
How has Broken Arrow evolved? Right now we serve around 1,300 student athletes. In your time here, you said this is your 9th season. Going into your 9th season, how has it changed and evolved for the better in terms of strength and conditioning?
Well, I would say the biggest change would be the upgrades to facilities we made my second year, 2015. The indoor facility was completed, and we upgraded that weight room, and that kind of trickled down, so we were able to move some existing equipment and create some other weight rooms around campus. So now, just on this campus, we have 3 weight rooms. We have another one at the Freshman Academy, working on getting another one at Kirkland. So in another year or so, we should have 5 weight rooms in the district, which is, with the way the schedules are set up, everyone has classes 1st through 5th hour. So everyone needs to train mornings or afternoons, they're very coveted slots. Everyone wants to get in the same time, so it's important to have multiple facilities of kids to use. That, and then as well, getting to add a few people underneath me to help out. Coach Bo Jenkins and Coach Michelle Vasquez helping me out has been a tremendous asset. Just more kids we can get our hands on, making a bigger difference.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about, obviously everybody knows about the strength and conditioning element, but one of the big pushes you guys have made in the last few years has been with nutrition as well. Talk a little bit about some of the things you guys have done with that. Yeah,
I would say that's probably where the majority of our work has gone the last couple of years. Coach Dunn and I, when he was here, we started the Tiger Nutrition Training Table. So we have a menu set up specifically for athletes, loaded with the most protein, most calories they're allowed to get in a meal. So we got that in the gym every day, and in addition to that, just trying to do everything we can to feed these kids every opportunity we can. Every day if you walk through the indoor facility, we've got, apples, bananas, peanut butter, chocolate milk out there every single day that we expect them to take advantage of. And we're still working on kind of, broadening that out to get it to a few more facilities, a few more sports. But I think that's one of the main ways that high schools are starting to catch up for colleges, because it's just such an important aspect of their training and their development as an athlete.
This question can kind of go for the both of you. I'll let Cody take it first, and then we'll let Rich do it as well. But, how do you stay motivated? BA, I think a lot of us, I always talk to kids and my staff and stuff about, you're either getting better or you're getting worse. And that was kind of something that I probably stole it from somebody, but I came up with that. I used to say it a lot when I coached basketball, but it applies to this. So like, where do you get your where do you get your inspiration from, and how do you keep getting better at your craft?
I just got to remember why you're there. You're there to, and it'd be hard to forget with what I do, because you got 120 football players rolling your way every single day, not to mention track and field, soccer, basketball. I mean, you get a lot of reminders of why you're doing it, and you're constantly bombarded with kids that need help with with their tasks for the day, what they're trying to get done. And at the end of the day, I think it's just remembering why you're there, why you got into the field. You're there to help those kids just like I got help when I was an athlete.
What is the greatest reward for you as a strength coach?
Probably seeing the kids come back after a year or two of college and, talking about how their workouts in college are easy. Or if they're not easy, they're, everybody else is dying, but it's, this same old thing for me. I've been doing this since I was a freshman in high school. That's being a college athlete, several years ago now for me, but I remember those days. I remember getting in there and people just not being able to hang with just, especially college coaches try to weed kids out. And just when a kid comes back and tells me like, yeah, that wasn't even, I've done this 1,000 times. That's extremely rewarding.
I think you get that at a lot of different levels here at Broken Arrow because of how big we do things in different areas, whether it's a kid in there. A lot of times we'll get kids to be like, I went to OU and I was more prepared than any other student. I'm sure same thing happens in a lot of our musical programs where, you can imagine how many of the kids that are in the Pride go on to march in college and are like, wow, this is not nearly as good as what I was in high school. So I think that's a testament to the district and what we do. You mentioned a little bit about working with other sports. Talk to us a little bit about what is the difference between working, a lot of times people, when they think strength and conditioning, football is the first thing that comes to mind, but you work, with all the other sports as well. Talk a little bit about what goes into kind of tailoring what you do to the needs of the different teams and athletes.
Well, at the high school level, it's a little different. The kids are just so raw. They're so young. A lot of them have never touched a weight before, so it's not so much, at least the way I view it. It's not much of a sport specific thing. Maybe a little bit. You'll change things here and there based on the sport, but when you're dealing with young kids that are very raw and are very inexperienced, it's just fundamentals as much as you can. Every single team is going to work on learning to squat, learning to engage their core, improving their mobility. There's very basic things that with high school kids you can just hammer over and over and over again, and they'll continue to develop and get better and better. I would say that's the main thing. Is just every team has got to be focused on fundamentals all year long.
That was actually one of the questions I was going to ask you is if your training is for overall development or is it sport specific? So it sounds like it is a little bit more overall development. And then whenever it's in season, you're really focused on that.
Yeah, in season we tailor things a little bit, and there's things here and there. Especially the big thing with that I feel is communication with the sport coaches. What do you see? What do you need to work on? What happened last year? Did you have a rash of knee injuries? Okay, right. What can we do on my end for your team particularly to help try to alleviate that this year? Are you having a lot of guys with baseball? Are you having a lot of guys with sore shoulders? Are you having a lot of hip flexor? What injuries are you seeing very common in the past? What can we do on my end to help alleviate those things moving forward? That's a big part of what we do in the weight room as well.
All right, we'll come back with some more questions for Cody here in a second, but now we're going to turn our attention to sports information specialist Wesley Richardson. Big Rich, how's it going, man?
It's going really well, man. Really well.
So this is Wesley Richardson's first year at Broken Arrow, but it's actually kind of his first year. It's his first official year in the athletic department. Tell us a little bit about your background. You're from Mississippi. How did you end up in Oklahoma, and what's made you stay here?
Oh, man, this is going to be a good one. All right, so I started off thinking I was going to be a basketball player, but I did not.
At what age was this?
Oh man, you say you want to talk about origin stories. So you want to go back to like, oh man, 9 or 10 years old. I was gonna stay there.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna go there with rec league. So I think I'm gonna be a basketball player, and I wound up. I'm going off of tryouts, and I did not make the first cut, and that was my first sign of knowing I was not a basketball player. So I turned my attention to football. So football, kind of like gave me a avenue to get where I wanted to go, because it's kind of, like I said, this whole story started with football now, because I started playing, and I kind of was in the shadow of my brother. He's a quarterback, so of course the quarterbacks get all the fame. I was like I was a lineman, so I didn't get much recognition. So I always had to fight and like try to like make a name for myself. So it's kind of like where I get my drive from. It's like trying to be, just trying to prove for myself that I can do stuff. So like I always saw the stuff that he did, and I was like, I can do that better than him, but I never like said it out loud. I just always like to show it. Like I always tell my wife, don't talk about stuff, just do it. Like just do stuff. So like back to the story. So I get playing football, and I get kind of good at it. I get some all state recognitions. I get some.
What position on the line did you play?
I play. My main position was a guard, right guard. I played all the positions. And that's it kind of like ties into my life. I played center, I played guard and tackle. I can on all, like when I played college ball, they want me to play center, I played guard, and I played tackle. So, and now in my life, it seemed like just being versatile is kind of like how it's kind of like how it makes my DNA, because I can do a lot of things, and that's kind of like how I kind of pride myself on being able to do a lot of things, but it's a curse. So like I was saying, back to the
you ended up in Ada, right?
Yeah,
East Central University.
Yeah. So I'm getting to that football story. So I'm playing football. So my brother is like the quarterback. He goes to the school I'm potentially going to. He's going to a junior college. Now he wins a championship. He's a starting quarterback. So he looks back and say, "Who do you have behind you?" He said, "I got a little brother." Do he play quarterback? No, he do not play quarterback. He's a lineman, and he's 5'10". So that was a red flag right there. So I get to this college. It's a junior college.
Where at?
I'm in Mississippi. It's called Holmes Community College. So if you ever see the Netflix series,
they play them on East Mississippi.
Yeah, East Mississippi play them. It's called Holmes Community College. So I play football there. I make all state there as well. So I played 2 seasons, but in junior college those colleges try to come get you early.
Yeah.
So I started getting recruited towards the end of my sophomore season year. A school out here in Oklahoma, Ada, East Central University. Shout out to ECU. So that was the first Division II school that offered me a full scholarship. I had some D1 AA schools that's offered me some half scholarships, some point scholarships like that. But so I took a visit, came out here to Oklahoma. That was my first flight ever coming out to Oklahoma. It was a big old experience. We could talk about that another time. It was a whole bigger experience. So I get to playing football out here.
Well, so your first impressions though, so you probably flew into Oklahoma City, right?
Oh yeah, I flew.
And then you had to have how long of a drive to Ada?
It was about an hour and a half.
Yeah, you're like, what did I get into?
That was my first time getting Whataburger. Yeah, it was really cool. All right, so I'm trying to fast forward this. So I play football in Ada. Then once I graduate, I actually go back to Mississippi and start teaching. So I didn't stay in Oklahoma originally.
That's right.
So once I went back home and started teaching Mississippi for 5 years, I'm in Grenada, Mississippi, by the way, big town, G-town. So Grenada, Mississippi. I kept in touch with the coaches out here in Oklahoma. My head coach is Tim McCarty. So I kept in touch with him. So when I decided for me to leave Mississippi, I did 5 years in my high school. My wife is from here, so that was a big part of it too.
From Broken Arrow or just from the Tulsa area?
She's from Walika.
That's right.
Walika, Oklahoma. So if y'all ever drive towards Henrietta or somewhere in that area, Okema, shout out to Wee Town. That's what they call it. So yeah, Walika. So this is actually kind of how all this stuff comes full circle. Because when I'm in Mississippi, I get to the point I get frustrated. And I want to do more. I don't know what I want to do. I tell the football. I will actually have a meeting with the head football coach and assistants. I was like, I want to do something. I want to like make the program like more exciting. I want to do something to bring excitement to our team. I just didn't know the avenue. So.
And at that point in time, had you ever even dabbled in video or graphics or anything?
Yeah.
A little bit.
So I glossed over that. Thank you, Mr. Spencer. So during that time in college, man, I found out I wanted to do graphic design. But we didn't have a graphic design program. I had MySpace. Yes, that's my age. Yes,
who was in your top 8?
Oh man, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
aged yourself big time.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I just show y'all my age. MySpace, y'all.
Yeah, rest in peace, MySpace. Wonder what Tom's up to these days.
I'm glad you brought that up. I did start doing that stuff in college on my own. I self-taught myself.
That was also kind of the beginning of YouTube around that same time, so you could start finding tutorials and things to, that's kind of the avenue that people
Rich,
started
I remember
learning.
you mentioning this. Did your mom buy you your first Photoshop? Is that right?
Yeah, she bought me my first laptop. That was the one thing I asked her to buy me in college. It was a laptop because that's when I got on MySpace and I started seeing these guys like designing stuff. I said, "Hey man, how did you do that?" He told me I use Photoshop in this other program. So I'm like, Mom, I need a laptop. I just started doing some design and stuff, graphic design stuff. She said, okay. She got her credit card out and bought me my laptop, and I used that thing, man. I'm talking about.
But you weren't formally trained on it,
No.
so you taught yourself.
Yes, I taught myself. Yes,
It's pretty amazing.
Man, I make that joke all the time. Everybody say, hey, where did you go to college for this stuff, like this video stuff and graphic design? I said, Trial and Error University. They were like, what?
The best way to learn.
I was like, man, I taught myself.
TEU.
I
right.
do. Sometimes I wish I would have went to a traditional route, but like I said, they didn't even have a program.
Well, yeah, I mean that's one thing. The kids we work with now, because you graduated college in when?
Oh, in 2008.
2008. So I graduated in college in 2004, and it's just a much different time. I mean, I have a similar story where my nana, she gave me $5,000 my first year at OU to buy a Power Mac G4 and a Canon GL2 camera. And I thought I was like ready to be Steven Spielberg, but I just had to start making stuff, and that's just kind of how it got going. Like you talk about the kids that are in this program here, and the kids that we have, and the amount of kids that are just able. I mean, heck, if you're talented, you can go make stuff on your phone these days. So it's just a massively different landscape that the kids have opportunities at those same age, because I think. Not to speak for you, but to me, it feels much more attainable to do these things as a 16, 17, 18-year-old than it did when we were just like, you could get on TV or movies or, design for a magazine. Like even websites were a fairly new thing back then, so just all these, like I worked for OU Athletics for 3 years, but the only thing that existed, like there was no social media yet.
Yeah.
They didn't have a MySpace page in 2004 when I graduated.
I feel like sometimes I say a line that I grew up in the wrong era.
Yeah.
I feel like I should be 10 years younger, because of the stuff that I want to do.
You're definitely ahead of your time.
Yeah, man.
You're still growing up in it.
Yeah, sure. I just wish I was a little bit 10 years younger.
I mean, you've been a part of developing part of comprehensive plan for athletics, and Steve Dunn was really the main person who really wanted to catapult our athletic department to having the best for our athletes and servicing all of our teams and giving them not only graphics just so our audience knows what's going on, but also post-game information. And so that's been huge, just to try to be consistent. I know there's some days where we're like, oh my gosh, we need to go back and get these results, but you've done an amazing job just with the challenges that lie within having this many teams and coaches and trying to get a hold of them. Tell me a little bit about how that's been for you now that you're here, you'll be going into your second year. What's been working well, and what do you see in the future for Broken Arrow in terms of graphics and videos and everything?
That's a good question. Let me see. Figuring it out. Once we figure it out and get into the groove, that what's been I say what helping me out the best is just trying to staying consistent is the big key. You have to be able to get all the game information, make sure it's right, because sometimes
the ever-changing game information,
man,
especially this time of year with
weather,
with rain and so many
Sure.
teams, and
Well, I can tell you that the feedback we've received is just positive. You've been such a huge asset to our department and to AeroVision, and what feedback have you got from? I know the athletes; they come up to you now and they know you, and has that been fun since you are technically a coach at heart?
Yeah. Man, when you can tell when they see me, they know to start just smiling. They know the camera's coming.
They love the camera.
Oh man, they love the camera. But it does help that I actually do have a conversation with the kids. That helps out because when I see them later, they remember me. Of course, they remember me because of the camera, but they talk to me and I ask them about certain things. That's what I think I feel that makes my experience and makes my whole outlook on it different, because I actually try to connect with the kids instead of sticking the camera in their face all the time.
Love that.
I talk to them off the camera. Yeah,
Develops rapport and trust.
For sure, yes. I mean, even everywhere I've been, I can go back to because I built that relationship.
Yeah, and speaking of that, so I mean, just a little, I'll give some context to this, but so we circled around and you eventually wound up at Bixby, and that's kind of where people started to get to know you, and you were creating cool content for Bixby and kind of improving your craft at the same time that they started winning all those state championships. So you reached out to me, I want to say in like 2016 or something like that, sent me a message on Facebook and was like, hey, I'm Wesley Richardson and I'm doing this at the Bixby, but I was curious if you ever had a job in AeroVision, keep me in mind. And so I circled back to you about a year and a half or so later, and we were able to kind of work something out for you to be here during the 2018 state championship season, which was a pretty magical season for everybody. But talk a little bit about, and unfortunately we lost you for 2 more years, but then we got you back. But talk a little bit about that first impression of coming to BA and what that 2018 season was like, kind of cutting your teeth and doing the things that you did for us here then.
And I was blown away, to be honest. My wife kept telling me, she's like, man, Broken Arrow. You said, you going to Broken Arrow? She kept saying that like it was a big deal. And I wasn't like dismissing it, but I just didn't understand what she was saying. She just kept saying, are you going to Broken Arrow? Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to Broken Arrow. Yeah, she's like, how did you do that? I was like, I hit up Greg. And I mean, I actually didn't know who I was talking to. Like when you said when I hit you up, I was sitting there. I was like, man, I saw a video or something that AeroVision put out. I was like, man, I want to be a part of that. So when I hit the message, I slid in the DMs, people. Yes, I slid in AeroVision DM. And asked him, I'm looking for something. And man, Greg Spencer changed my life. He answered my call. So he took a chance on me and brought me in. But seeing all the stuff that BA has, the resources, the support, the support from the top down. I mean, that's what I like, is the being supported, having the resources I need, having the people in places that I can go talk to that have knowledge. And you on here, Greg Spencer, man, this guy is amazing. So I go talk to him. He's like, person I need any help, anything I need, I go talk to him, and he helped me out. So, like I said, overall, like I was just blown away of the experience with just this school. I mean,
well, as soon as we were in a tug of war match with Bixby there, as they, Coach Montgomery really wanted to get him back. He got you back, and then I tried for 2 years to get him back, and we were able to do so. And part of the reason, we're kind of like-minded in a lot of ways, in that we coached. We're both former coaches that enjoy being creative, and so I think we've always been on the same wavelength there. But I asked this question for Cody, but what keeps you motivated? Where do you get your inspiration from to keep staying better and doing the big things that you do?
Let me see if I want to say this.
I mean, at this point, there's so many other good content creators out there. Talk a little bit about, taking things
that's what
from,
keep me motivated. Man, seeing these young guys doing it, I was like, man, I actually told one of those guys, I saw him at a game. I said, man, dude, if I was your age, I would be on. I'll say it. Let me see how I said it. I said, man, I would be on you. I'll be on your neck. I don't know if that's the right word to say. I mean, I would be after you. Because I would be posting. I'll be at all these games. I'll be making content. I said, man, that's why I always say I was in the wrong era. Like, if I was his age, a kid that was 21, 22, man, they would get tired of me. Because I'll be posting everything I make. I mean, because I have the time to do it. But like I said, that keeps me motivated. Even after I had that conversation, I'm going to have to get a kid a shout out. His name is Josh Herb. So after I talked to him at the game, when I was telling him that, I was like, why you not doing it? That's what I told myself. I was like, I'm saying it. What's my excuse? So I don't know, that following week, I just like, okay, this is it. So I started like pumping a little bit more stuff out. But like I said, that keeps me motivated. Seeing these young cats out here doing it, I'm like, man, I can do the same thing. I'm just 10 years older. So I think having this kind of role and having this being able to promote the kids, man, it give them so much. It give them motivation. I mean, you can see it. You can see them even kind of like a little trying hard because I'm there. And I heard they kind of joke about, oh, you just doing it because the camera's here. I mean, I don't want it to be that way, but it's just the reality. I mean, if somebody have a spotlight on you, you're gonna perform. I mean, you're gonna try to do a little bit better. So,
and it goes back to what we talked about earlier with Cody about how so many of these kids, unless you're a Broken Arrow student athlete that is going to go to a big time D1, OU, OSU, wherever, Arkansas, the stuff that we're doing for them here, media-wise, is going to be better than what they're getting into D2. And I mean, you talk about the photo days and the promo shoots that we've been doing with Sean Hill and the different things and the graphics. I mean, it's, even though you're technically in that athletic department, you're like an honorary AeroVision member. And, every year we're looking for ways to get better, and you were a big part of that this year. What has been your favorite moment from the job this year? And then actually, what has been your favorite moment of the job this year? If you could pick one day that was like your best day at work, what would it be? Tough question.
No, it really wasn't.
Cody be thinking about the same thing.
It was, I don't know if you remember, it was one day I pumped out like 3 videos in one day. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like,
"Did you get any sleep last night?"
All-nighter.
He texts me like, man, chill out. Like, you going too much now. Like, I was like, man, I'm in the groove. I'm feeling it, man. That day, I don't know what that day was. I might go back and look on that calendar, but I felt it was. I mean, I was in my zone. There was no one around me. I had my lights off. I had my little light on, but I was in my own world. But I was doing what I love to do. I was locked in, and that felt like my best. It felt like it was my best day of being here, just being by myself, locked in, just pumping out some content. That was to me.
Cody, what about you? Do you have a specific? It doesn't even have to be this year with you since you've been here for a while, but what's the best kind of day for you? Or do you have a specific moment that you're like, yeah, this is why I do it?
Typically my answer would be something training wise, just because as a strength coach on game day, you're not super involved. You have your roles, but they're nothing like, during a training session. But just thinking of the last year, it's got to be a quarterfinal game against Owasso. After we just, we got.
And I missed that game. I was in Indianapolis with the Pride, which I was, got an amazing moment there with them as well. But that's one of the tough decisions with me. That was such an awesome game.
I don't think I've ever seen a team get beat so badly by somebody in the regular season and come back and avenge the loss in the postseason like that. I mean, of course, all the other storylines. Coach Blankenship coaching against his dad, and
I say I missed it. I actually watched it from my hotel bedroom on my MacBook.
Man, that was. I mean, it doesn't matter the level, high school, college, NFL, like football games.
Yeah, that was great.
That was really good.
And that was. I'll remember that game for a long time.
Yeah. Well, we could sit and talk to you guys for a long time, but we're gonna wrap it up here pretty soon. Let's, Amanda, do you have any final questions before we get into kind of some fun stuff for him here to wrap things up?
I have one more question for Coach Ellett, and then I had one thing I wanted to talk about with what Big Rich is, what we're pursuing right now. Coach Ellett, I love in afternoons, I'll hear you all downstairs. You know, I hear the guys getting into the workouts and everything. And on Wednesdays, you have this thing called Competition Wednesdays. Tell us a little bit about that and what that means.
It's just one day a week that we get the kids to kind of get out of their comfort zone a little bit and compete. The competition will change week to week, but it's typically something, you know, pretty physical. Sometimes it's one-on-one, sometimes it's group versus group, sometimes it's a whole team thing. But the biggest thing we want out of that, of course, anytime you're competing, you want to win, but we want kids eager to compete.
Absolutely.
That's what we tell them at the end of every Wednesday. We clap it up. We give a hand for all our competitors. We love somebody up, give one of your teammates a hug, because at the end of the day, we're all in it together. But what we're looking for on those days is just the kid that we got to hold back, that he's raising his hand. I'm calling my best friend out. I'm going against him, or someone down the other side of the ball. Showing us that they're eager to compete. That's the main thing that we want to see on a Wednesday.
Love it. Big Rich, talk to us about our new website rollout.
All right, so we have a new website coming. Director Steve Dunn, he was in place here. He wants us to get us a new website, and trying to push the needle forward. He always was trying to do something new. So our website is gonna be done by Hot Coffee Design. Actually, one of my former employers. So that's a connection. And like I said, I keep my relationships. I build with people. So the website is gonna be very eye catching. When you first pull it up, it's gonna be a video on it on the top of the screen.
Will it still be batigersports.com?
It will be batigersports.com. Yes, okay. It will be. It's gonna once we push it out, it's gonna still keep the same name. We're gonna close down the other side and bring up the new one. But like when you get on it, it's gonna be. Soon you get on it, you're gonna see some eye-catching video. It's gonna be very, very
user friendly.
User friendly, yes. It's gonna be really nice. You guys are gonna love it, I believe. I hope so. Yes.
Do we have a release date for that yet? Maybe summer sometime.
Man, I'm thinking. I want to say that it's really close, really, really close. So I want to just say I will keep an ear out for it. I don't want to give a date just yet, but it's really gonna be really soon.
All right, so we're going to hit you guys up with some rapid fire, get to know you questions to close this thing out. We'll start with Rich, and then we'll go with Cody. Favorite restaurant in the Tulsa area? What's your go-to place in BA or Tulsa area? You've got to have a meal tonight, and you can pick one place. What's it going to be?
Cheddar's.
Hey, can't go wrong with Cheddar's.
It's
good food. It's affordable. Usually the service is pretty good.
More about the affordable part, but yeah.
It's probably the most quality affordable meal you can go get somewhere. Right. All right, Cody, what about you?
Main Street Tavern.
Nice.
Ooh,
good,
I love
good.
that
Quite
place.
often.
All right. If there's a big movie out, are you going to the movie theater or are you going to watch it from home? That's a dynamic that people have to choose from now that wasn't a thing prior to 2020 as much. You going to theater or watching?
I'm going to the movies.
The Warren?
I'm going to the Warren every time.
Cody, what about you?
No, we're cooking steaks at home.
Yeah,
we don't
that's
get
what I
out
would
much.
do.
That's crazy. That's a good question. You got two different answers.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing. Favorite binge-worthy TV show that you've watched lately?
Oh man, Valhalla. I'm Vikings all day, man. I watched Last Kingdom. I mean, I'm into the Vikings era, man. Those guys like berserkers. All right, go ahead. Next question. I'm gonna start talking all.
Cody, what about you?
My wife and I were watching a show called The Dropout right now on Hulu. It's about Elizabeth Holmes, the Theranos.
I've seen the documentary of that.
Yeah.
I've not started watching the show yet. It looks interesting.
I knew a little bit about the story, but seeing the kind of the in-depth, I mean, it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Can I give my one more? Reservation Dogs.
Oh, yeah. Res Dogs was great if you haven't seen that.
Yeah, Oklahoma, baby.
Yeah, and they're filming the season 2 around this area pretty soon, I believe. Yep. If you could see one band or artist in concert, who would it be?
Jay-Z.
Have you seen Jay-Z before?
No.
I got one up on you. I have. I saw him in Oklahoma City about 10 years ago.
Oh man, I bet that was
that
awesome.
was amazing.
Was it Fade to Black?
I can't remember. I think it was the Magna Carta album.
okay.
I think it was that tour.
Yeah, gotcha.
Cody?
I'm the only strength coach in the world that you'll get this answer out of. It's the only band I love I've never seen, My Chemical Romance.
Oh, that's not.
That's a good one.
I'm a fan of My Chemical
What's
Romance.
their favorite?
That was
what's
like
their
our
favorite
era,
song?
Greg.
Yeah,
A lot of popular songs.
Chemical Romance. I'm gonna
They're kind of an emo band from the 2000ish era, mid 2000s.
It's good weightlifting music.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it used to be a lot of my playlist in the 2007 to 12 era or so maybe somewhere around there. If you that was the question I already had. Best vacation you've ever been on, Rich?
I'm ready for this one. Man, I'm telling you, I went to Key West, Florida on spring break for on a cruise. Man, it was the best time.
Now, was this before you got married or
No,
after?
I was with my wife.
Okay, I was just making sure you didn't say your best vacation was not with your wife and get you in trouble.
Yeah, it was with my wife. It was right before we had kids and stuff, so we was young. We had a lot of fun. It was during spring break. It was a lot of spring breakers on the trip too. That made it fun. So down in Florida, yeah.
Honeymoon in Jamaica.
Oh,
No doubt.
I bet that was
Can't beat
amazing.
Nice. Amanda, what about you? What's the best vacation? I just went on mine personally.
Mine would be the Riviera Maya in Mexico.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I love the food. I love the people. Love the beach.
A specific resort you went to, or
Ooh, let's see. What was that called? Puerto Aventura?
really?
I think so. Something like that.
Yeah, we just got back in February for our 10-year anniversary for Unico 2086 or something like that. It's like the coordinates, but
Didn't you say it was beautiful?
Yeah, it was
phenomenal.
all inclusive. Just the resort itself was only about 4 or 5 years old, so it was pretty amazing. But
Sheila, you listening?
Any beach.
yeah. So all right, well that is all the time we have this week for Uncaged. Any other things? We're really busy right now in
We're just so
the
lucky to
athletics
have
world.
these two people,
Yeah,
Coach
for
Ellett
sure.
and Big Rich, to impact student athletes. We couldn't be more excited that they're here and grateful for all that they do.
Yeah, be sure you are following at BA Tiger Sports on all social media platforms. Trust me, if you are, you will know what's going on with Broken Arrow Athletics. You're not going to miss out on anything. We will keep you up to date. But that's all the time we have for this week. We will see you next time.